Poor Charlie's Almanack, abridged, edited by Peter D. Kaufman, foreword by Warren E. Buffett. The model for Poor Charlie's Almanack is, of course, Ben Franklin's Poor Richard's Almanack. Franklin, as many know, was a polymath, born in Boston and a leader of the American Revolution. He was a journalist, publisher, author, philanthropist, abolitionist, public servant, scientist, librarian, diplomat, and investor. The Munger approach to life, learning, and decision-making. Take a simple idea and take it seriously, Munger said. Despite being largely self-taught, Ben Franklin was spectacularly successful in such diverse fields as journalism, publishing, printing, philanthropy, public service, science, diplomacy, and inventing. Much of Franklin's success was due to the essential nature of the man, most especially his appetite for hard work, but also his insatiable curiosity and patient demeanor. Charlie lives in a different world from most investors. When it comes to investment analysis, his approach accepts the reality that investment problems are inherently complex, and in a manner more in keeping with the rigors of scientific inquiry than conventional investing. He attacks them with staggering degree of preparation and broad-based research. Charlie's big ideas from the big disciplines approach to investment evaluation is certainly unique in the business world. As its origin, not finding any existing approach adequate to the task, Charlie painstakingly created his own, largely self-taught system. The self-taught statement is no exaggeration. He once said, "To this day, I have never taken any course anywhere in chemistry, economics, psychology, or business. And yet, these disciplines, especially psychology, from the foundation upon which his system is built." Munger, like Buffett, believes a successful investment career boils down to only a handful of decisions. So when Charlie likes a business, he makes a very large bet and typically holds the position for a long period. Another Benjamin Graham, not Franklin, played a significant role in forming Charlie's investing outlook. One of the most enduring concepts in Graham's The Intelligent Investor is Mr. Market. Usually, Mr. Market is a temperate and reasonable fellow, but some days he is gripped by irrational fear or greed. Graham cautioned the investor to carefully use his own unemotional judgment of value instead of relying on the often manic, depressive behavior of the financial market. Similarly, Charlie recognizes that even among the most competent and motivated of people, decisions are not always made on a purely rational basis. For this reason, he considers the psychological factors of human misjudgment some of the most important mental models that can be applied to an investment opportunity. Investment advice. One of the key elements to successful investing is having the right temperament. Most people are too fretful. They worry too much. Success means being very patient but aggressive when it's time. And the more hard lessons you can learn vicariously rather than through your own hard experience, the better. I think there's something to be said for developing the disposition to own stocks without fretting. But temperament alone won't do it. You need a lot of curiosity for a long, long time. If See's Candy, when we were buying it, had asked for $100,000 more, Buffett chimed in, $10,000 more? Warren and I would have walked. That's how dumb we were. Ira Marshall said, "You guys are crazy. There are some things you should pay up for, like quality business and people. You're underestimating quality." We listened to the criticism and changed our mind. This is a good lesson for anyone. The ability to take criticism constructively and learn from it. If you take the indirect lessons from learning from C's, you could say Berkshire was built on constructive criticism. How to be happy, get rich, and other advice. If all you succeed in doing in life is getting rich by buying little pieces of paper, It's a failed life. Life is more than being shrewd in wealth accumulation. A lot of success in life and business comes from knowing what you want to avoid. Early death, a bad marriage, etc.
Beware of envy. The idea of caring that someone is making money faster than you are
is one of the deadly sins. Envy is a really stupid sin because it's the only one you could never possibly have any fun at. There's a lot of pain and no fun. Why would you want to get on that trolley? How to get rich? We get these questions a lot from enterprising young. It's a very intelligent question. You look at some old guy who's rich and you ask, how can I become like you, but except faster? Spend each day trying to be a little wiser than you were when you woke up. Discharge your duties faithfully. Step by step you get ahead, but not necessarily in fast spurts.
But you build discipline by preparing for fast spurts.
Slug it out 1 inch at a time, day by day. At the end of the day, if you live long enough, most people get what they deserve. If you don't get elementary probability into your repertoire, you go through a long life like a one-legged man in a butt-kicking contest. If you don't get this elementary but mildly unnatural mathematics of elementary probability into your repertoire, then you go through a long life like a one-legged man in a butt-kicking contest. You're giving a huge advantage to everybody else. One of the advantages of a fellow like Buffett, whom I worked with all these years, is that he automatically thinks in terms of decision trees and the elementary math of permutations and combinations. One little guy is trying to buy across 27 different merchandise categories, influenced by traveling salesmen. He's going to make a lot of dumb decisions. But if your buying is done in headquarters for a huge bunch of stores, you can get very bright people that know a lot about refrigerators and so forth to do the buying. The reverse is demonstrated by the little store where one guy is doing all the buying. It's like the old story about the little store with salt all over its walls. And a stranger comes in and says to the owner, "You must sell a lot of salt." And he replies, "No, I don't. But you should see the guy who sells me salt." Some edges can be acquired, and the game of life, to some extent, for most of us, is trying to be something like a good plumbing contractor in Bemidji. Very few of us are chosen to win the world's chess tournaments. You have to figure out what your own aptitudes are. If you play games where other people have the aptitudes, and you don't, you're going to lose. So one thing all those winning bettors in the whole history of people who've beaten the pari-mutuel system have is quite simple. They bet very seldom. The way to win is to work, and hope to have a few insights. So you can get very remarkable investment results if you think more like a winning pari-mutuel player. Just think of it as heavy odds against a game full of craziness with an occasional mispriced something or other. And you're probably not going to be smart enough to find thousands in a lifetime. And when you get a few, you really load up. It's just that simple. When Warren lectures at business schools, he says, "I could improve your ultimate financial welfare by giving you a ticket with only 20 slots in it so that you had 20 punches, representing all the investments that you got to make in a lifetime. And once you punched through the card, you couldn't make any more investments at all."